Hello and welcome to lesson 10.2, pan balance problems with two balances. Our sabbat for today is that students will be able to solve sets of two equations with two unknowns. The materials you will need for today's lesson include your math journal, a pencil, whiteboard, and marker. To begin, please turn to your journal page 336. What we're going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you through a couple of these questions, but we do get to some more complex algebraic problems, so hopefully these simple warm-up ones will be pretty intuitive for you. So the instructions say solve these pan balance problems. In each figure, the two pans are in perfect balance. So number one block weighs as much as blank balls. So I can see on my equation there, I have two blocks on one side and I have 4 balls on the other side. So they're asking me how much one block weighs. Well, I know 2 is equal to 4, but if I were to take a look and split up my blocks into two groups so I had just one block, and then I could split my ball side up into two, I could clearly see that one block equals 2 balls, see? So I'm going to fill that in here. And question 2 is actually even easier than that. It says one ball weighs as much as blank marbles. So I can see I have one ball on this side and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marbles on the other side. So that one was sort of just a gimme answer anyway. For the next several questions, I'm going to have taken and sort of blown up pictures of the journal questions on page 336 and 337 just to make it easier for you. So this is actually question 3. I skipped question 2. We are on question 3 here. It says that one block weighs as much as blank marbles. And then it also asks us one coin weighs as much as how many marbles. Sorry, that much got cut off there. And again, my screen looks a little different, but it's the same information as you have on your page. Now, when you're going to probably look at this, you're probably going to freak out and say, I have no clue how to even start this. What you have to do is you have to first take a look at the equation that looks, or the balance that looks the easiest. And in this problem, if I look at pan balance 1 versus pan balance number 2, I can see pan balance number 2 is a little bit easier of an equation. I see that one coin is the same as 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, is the same as 7 marbles. Now notice when I wrote my equation down below, I didn't put a 1 in front of the coin. You don't need to do that. If it's just 1, you can just leave it with no number. It's assumed that it's 1 if you have, coin listed. So that's easy. One coin weighs as much as 7 marbles. I already have one of my answers that they asked to the question. But here comes the tricky part. Instead of keeping the coin in pan balance 1, I'm going to take that out and I'm going to add 7 marbles. Now I could draw out 7 marbles, or I could write 7M on top to show that I've as just another notation for it. Doesn't matter what you do. You could draw out 7 marbles if that makes more sense to you. But now, in order to find out how much one block weighs, here comes the easy part. Look, I have 7 marbles on this side. I'm going to get rid of 7 marbles on this side, and at the same time, I'm going to get rid of 7 marbles on the other side. So there's 5 marbles gone, 6, 7 gone. See, I took 7 off of each side, and it's still unbalanced because we know that a marble weighs the same as another marble would. So now I can easily find my answer. One block weighs as much as 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 marbles. So I fill that in. Now, I know you don't have a spot on your page to write out an equation. The reason I have that here is I thought that it would be kind of easier for you guys to see how this turns into algebra later on. But what this equation would have been when I had the block and the coin on each side, I would have had a block on this side plus a coin on this side, and it equaled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It equaled 20 marbles on this side. So that's how you would write that as an algebraic equation. B plus C equals 20M. As in, a block plus a coin is the same thing or equal to 20 marbles. Okay, moving on to the next question on that same page. One block weighs as much as how many marbles? And one ball weighs as much as how many marbles? So again, we want to start off with our easier question, or equation, or easier balance, I guess. Just to show you, and you don't need to write this in if you don't want in your own books, but this equation actually shows us that one block equals 6 balls. Ooh, I'm going to put T for tennis balls. So one block equals 6 tennis balls. And this equation, equation 2, shows us that 2 tennis balls equals the same thing as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 marbles. Okay? Now, again, here comes the tricky part. This one, pan balance 1 looks like it would be the easier equation to work with, but it's not, because we need to figure out how much one block weighs in terms of marbles, not in terms of tennis balls. So instead, we're going to take a look at the tennis ball and marble equation, and this is going to be similar to what we did in the math message. Look, I have 2 balls over here. If I split or take out half of my ball side away, and I take out half, which would be like, let's say, the top layer here of the marbles, I can clearly see that ooh, that's not supposed to be 2. That 1 tennis ball equals the same thing as 5 marbles. So I'm going to fill that into my equation there. 1 tennis ball equals the same thing as 5 marbles. Now, so if 1 tennis ball, okay, so, yeah, I was just making sure I had this right. Okay, so we've got block on this side, we've got tennis balls over here. Now think about it. If one of these tennis balls equals 5 marbles, that means each one of these tennis balls equals 5 marbles. So if you know your skip counting or your multiplication, you would easily be able to tell that one block weighs as much as 30 marbles. Okay, to finish off the last question on that page, I didn't have a special page for this one, so I want to kind of draw your attention to question 5 at the bottom of page 336. And we're going to figure out how much one block weighs as much as how many marbles, or the ball weighs as much as how many marbles. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look at my easy equation, and 5 is easy. Look. 1 block is how many marbles. All you need to do, it gives you it in the first pan balance problem there. 1 ball clearly weighs as much as 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 marbles. In this next question, it's a little bit tougher, but not much. One thing I want you to note, if you have the same object on each side, you could just simply remove one an object from each of the sides so that it's equal. So hopefully that makes sense. Like, look, I took a block off of each one of these sides, and now I'm left with 3 balls is the same thing as 1 block. So if I know 1 block weighs 9 marbles, so I'm going to put 9 marbles on this side here. And think about it. I have 3 balls here. That means I need to split 9 by 3 to figure out how much 1 ball equals. Well, if I split 9 by 3, that means 9 divided by 3, which is simply 3 marbles. So 1 ball weighs as much as 3 marbles. You can now turn the page to journal page 337. We're on question 6 here. We're going to do a couple of questions on this page and then just a couple on the next page. So question 7 asks us, 1 coin weighs as much as how many paper clips, and 1 block weighs as much as how many paper clips. So I think the first thing that I want to do is I want to turn coins. Well, let's see here. I can see that I'm going to use pan balance 1, I think, to start. If I split pan balance 1 in half, I can see 1 block is the same thing as 2 coins. So that means I would have 2 coins for each of these blocks over here if I substituted it. So that means 2, 4, 6, 7 coins. So altogether we have 7 coins equals 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So 7 coins equals 14 paper clips. and I think that you can easily see how much one coin would equal. 7 coins equals 14 paper clips. I could divide it by 7, and I could see that 1 coin would equal 2 paper clips. So if a coin equals 2 paper clips, I'm going to go back to pan balance 1. So 1 coin is 2 paper clips, so 2 paper clips. Yeah, I'm putting that as P. That's 2 paper clips. And I can see that, and then of course these coins would each be 2 paper clips, right? But if I look at it for 1 block, well, 1 block, I already have it boxed in here. 1 block equals 4 paper clips. Just intuitive thinking. I think a lot of times kids get freaked out when they start algebra, but it's actually not as hard as you think if you just use your common sense. In the interest of time, we're skipping question 7 and moving on to question 8. So this one asks us, each can weighs how many ounces, and each cube weighs how many ounces. I'm going to actually use the first pan balance problem for this. I can see I've got 2 cans of baked beans here. So if I split the 2 cans, I'll be left with 1 can of baked beans. So I split that in half. If I split 18 in half, I know that 1 can of baked beans would be 9 ounces, right? So if each can of baked beans is 9 ounces, I can figure out how many ounces a cube would be. But before I do that, remember, if I have the same item on each side of a balance, I can get rid of that item. Look, I actually have 2 baked beans on the left side of this equation. I also have 2 baked beans on the right side of the equation. So now I'm left with 3 cubes equals 1 can of baked beans. So if I look at it, I think of 3 cubes equals 9. If I want to figure out how much 1 cube equals, I could divide the 9 by 3 to figure, because 3 divided by 3 is 1, right? So 9 divided by 3 would be 3. So each cube weighs 3 ounces. Turn to journal page 338. I'm hoping to do these first 2 questions depending on time. So this one looks a little different. You'll see something like this on your study link, which is why I wanted to do it with you. It says 3 squares and 1 triangle equal 3 triangles. Well, first thing I can do with this particular equation is I could take off a triangle off of each side. So if I took a triangle off of each side, I'd be left with no triangles on the left-hand side and 2 triangles on the right-hand side. So 3 squares is 2 triangles. All right, makes sense. But look at the next equation. 1 triangle weighs as much as 6 marbles. Well, that gives me the answer right there. That was pretty easy. 1 triangle weighs as much as 6 marbles. So if 1 triangle weighs as much as 6 marbles, that means 2 triangles would be, you guessed it, 12 marbles. And now to figure out how much 1 square equals, or 1 cube equals, all I need to do is divide this side, or the squares, by 3 and the marbles by 3. So, because 3 divided by 3 would be 1 square, and 12 divided by 3, of course, would be 4. Let's move on to question 11. X and Y equals 7 marbles. So x plus y equals 7 marbles. Look at my next equation. I do notice that there's a y on each side, so I'm going to take off a y on each side. And I'm going to see that, let's see, 1x would weigh as much as 2 marbles, because 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So that means there's 2 marbles on this side. And I can take off 2 marbles from this side. I could take 2 marbles off of here and left with 5 marbles. So y equals 5 marbles. Your study link looks like this, very much like what we just did. Again, I want to encourage you to use your common sense. It's not as hard as you want to make it out to be. Take off what you can off of each side and think about it. Don't rush to the conclusion that you don't know how to do it. Have confidence in yourself. Good luck.